and welcome to the Super Intelligent Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Forlini, and I am here with Mike Elgin. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I am a couple steps away from vacation, so I'm a little bit on my last legs. It's been a long, many months of renovating this house, working, doing this podcast, and when you're right before a vacation, you kind of realize, wow, I need a vacation, and that's pretty much where
Yeah.
I'm at. Yeah.
Well, great.
Everyone
How long is your
does.
vacation? Like a week?
It's just a week and a couple days, but just even having a
Okay.
break from the routine. I mean, we all have
Yeah.
so much stuff going on. You do, everyone listening to this does. It's August.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just time
Yep.
for me to just take a beat.
Yeah. Well, make sure you actually take a vacation. Don't respond to emails. Don't work. Don't
Yeah,
do anything, because otherwise you're just defeating the whole purpose.
that's true. That's what I did last
My,
time. I went to
my,
Puerto Rico in February, and that was the time
mhm.
that the stock market was crashing from the tariffs.
Yes.
And I needed to
Hmm.
use that stock for like some of this renovation. So I spent
Yeah.
the entire vacation refreshing CNN markets, and it sucked. So not going to do that this time.
Great.
Yeah. But how are you?
I'm doing great. I want to talk about AI. I want to talk about ChatGPT 5 because I always learn so much from you about ChatGPT 5, and so it's just a rolling shit show,
Mm-hmm.
and so before you talk about the actual news, did you hear that I don't remember the title of the guy, but basically a ChatGPT person says, "Yeah, we're totally thinking about advertising." So the
Oh,
monetization and shitification process continues unabated in Silicon
yes.
Valley.
It's called business. Yeah, so I guess last week we talked about how it didn't feel like a huge next generation leap in improvement from GPT-4. I mean, some
Right.
people thought it was, pretty good. I mean, I did some basic tests. I found it to be equivalent or worse. I think a lot of people had that experience as well. Of course, it's decent to start with, but after 2 years of hyping it up as like, the start of AGI, it just totally fell flat. And so, in the days following, there was this Reddit Ask Me Anything with Sam Altman. And basically, everyone was just shitting on GPT-5, like, deprecate it. We want the old one back. There were some crazy things, like people thought the old model 4.0 was their friend and he took their friend away, like this real unhealthy, weird attachment. So he was on it and he responded, blah, blah, blah. And he basically, yesterday or 2 days ago, posted this long post on X about everything they're doing to respond to the failed rollout. Did you see that by any chance?
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't really read it or pay attention very closely, but what was that all about?
Yeah, it's very long, so I'm not surprised you didn't read it. But it was a list of things they're fixing, and it was everything from the Reddit thread, the Reddit Ask Me Anything. And it was just the whole internet talk. I thought that was really misguided and a sign that they actually truly do not know what they're doing because they're just modeling their model off of the internet or Reddit is so does not represent the total population. I've written about a former employee did a whole expose on the culture there and said whenever something goes viral on Twitter, Sam Altman looks at it and the company is obsessed with what's on social media. And to me, that
Yeah.
just means they have no backbone. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how people are receiving their product. They don't have proper focus groups and surveys about how all these millions of people are using their product like a normal company would, especially with that much money. I just think they're running on vibes. They're running on internet, and no wonder
Yeah.
GPT-5 was such a flop.
Yeah. It's really quite a catastrophe that it took so long, as we talked about in the last episode, and they came out with this thing that they had to admit was dumber than the previous
Yeah,
version,
they said
that
it was
everybody
way
wants
dumber.
the previous version, and then way
Yeah.
dumber, and then you basically can only get the old version if you pay.
Mm-hmm.
It's all quite sordid, and and it's not like how we expect things to go. But I really think that I've been thinking about this concept of enshittification a lot about AI chatbots, and I think that this category of product, you know, generative AI, LLM based chatbots like ChatGPT, is more ripe for enshittification than anything that
Hmm.
has come before. And the thing that came before that was the most ripe was social media. And look at how enshittified that's become. It's just
Right.
an absolute shit show. And there are no good social networks anymore. Um, and it's just you know it's not good, and this is also not going to be good. So um, I think we're going to look back at like 2024 as a kind of a golden age when everybody was optimistic and everybody
Absolutely.
thought the future's just going to keep, you know, we're going to keep quadrupling the capability of these things. Meanwhile, we still have this strange cabal of industry insiders who think that we're going to have generative you know, AGI, you know, next year. Other people say in
Right.
15 years, we're going to have a super intelligence very soon, all this kind of stuff. Other people saying we're never going to get there. And so one thing that hasn't changed is nobody knows anything. And
No, and it's looking, for me, the GPT-5 launch was the first in a downward trend. And actually, the Gartner hype cycle, you've heard that. It starts
yes,
really hypey the past couple of years, and there's a trough of disillusionment, and then it kind of
yeah,
plateaus in the middle and it just becomes part of society.
right,
And
yeah,
Gartner, I think, came out and said, yeah, we're entering the trough of disillusionment because
yes, we are.
it's just becoming clear after 2 years of GPT-5 being heralded as AGI and it comes out and it's worse than the last model, you have to say what's going on. And the CEO is saying it's PhD level and everything. Like one example, somebody asked it for to get a manicure and pedicure. What are the places nearby? What's the cost? And it answered $20 to $25. That's extremely cheap for a manicure plus pedicure. You can't get a manicure
Yeah,
or a pedicure really for that price alone.
right.
Depends where you are. But in general, the combination of the two would be at a minimum like $50. So they were like, well, that's weird. I don't think that makes any sense. They looked at the source that it referenced, and it was an article from 2016. This is
Yeah,
GPT-5. Like,
yeah,
what a super intelligent being. Like, if any
right.
human looked at that article, they would say, oh, that's not relevant. So, how is it smarter or even close to as smart as a human? I mean, it's just nuts.
I've been doing engineering since the beginning, and so I've gotten into the habit of reminding the chatbot when I ask it something what year it is, because it doesn't know 1956, 2024. What's the difference? Like, chatbots really don't know or care what the difference is between different years. And oftentimes
Yeah.
they can gravitate toward more recent information if the stuff you're searching for, in fact, is only available as a modern, recent uh, set of information, data sets. But it helps a lot to say, hey, it's August 2025, and then you go in and do your prompt. That helps a lot. But still, with a super advanced thing like GPT-5, you'd think that it would figure out stuff like that much better.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason I even care about this is, you know, I do use ChatGPT, but I have been spending my days writing about AI for years. That's why I bring up, they said it was going to be this and that, and we've seen so much money pouring into the space. I've had to write about layoffs and people having existential crisis, kids killing themselves from talking to AI. I mean, we've just been in the depths here, and it all feels like it's been going up to this moment, and then it just fell flat, and it's like you're just wasting everybody's time. Like, is this at what point is this just false advertising and actually wrong? I mean, it's the hype is out of control, and people are being victims of it because corporations are making layoff decisions, getting rid of
Yeah,
people, investing in AI infrastructure because they're all scared shitless they're going to fall behind because of this hype. So I just feel like
yeah,
it's wrong and it's stupid. And I know it's just another product, like who cares? But when you write about
hmm,
all the effects of it, and also my personal time spent writing about this crap, I mean, it's a lesson
Yeah.
for me, like, just like anyone else, don't get caught up, but it's very annoying.
You need a vacation.
Exactly. I told you. It's like,
So,
screw this. This tech industry
yeah,
is just totally, totally
I'm going to
done. Like,
withdraw to the real world for a while, and before I come back,
yeah,
this is one of the weird things about my life, which is, as you know, I don't have a permanent residence, and my wife and I travel full time, and we also always look for amazing food. We're often in wine countries. We're often surrounded by nature and traditional cultures. And we go all over Europe and Latin America and North Africa and all these other places. And I go back and forth between my interior life, as dominated by my work, is just dystopian cyberpunk, sci-fi, and
yeah,
then my real life is all bright and sunny and beautiful and lovely and nice. And so I don't know what people do who do what I used to do 20 years ago, which is I would sit there by myself in Silicon Valley and immerse myself in technology all day every day. And so, yeah, we have to live in the real world. And I think you and I are both big advocates for that. We need
yes,
nature, we need culture. And humankind cannot live by AI doom scrolling alone.
no,
Although it's
yeah,
kind of fun.
absolutely.
One of the things that I have noticed that is, I always kind of try to tell people when these conversations, which inevitably come up about AI, everybody's talking about AI chatbots. And AI chatbots are among the least interesting thing happening in AI. I go
Yeah.
through all these scientific press releases. There's so many advances being made, so many discoveries being made, so many amazing things happening. Let me give you one small example. So, in the last, I guess, 20 years, 15, 20 years, we've discovered that a huge part of the human immune system is the microbial world of the gut, right? Inside the stomach and, mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestines, and so on. There are 100 trillion microbes that
Wow.
every time there's anybody has any kind of medical condition, they can see the effect in the microbial life of the stomach. Whenever somebody takes antibiotics for some infection or something like that, they suffer at least 4 years of disruption of their microbial immune system in the gut.
Hmm.
They've discovered that the gut actually has neurons, as many neurons as a cat's brain has. It's a mysterious world that seems to be the key to almost everything. From there people who have, for example, autism have a different gut microbial world than people who do not have autism. There's all these different things. The
Mm.
problem is 100 trillion. Like, what is going on? How do we get a handle on that? And now, for the first time, scientists are thinking, AI is really going to help us with this, because AI can handle massive data sets and look for all kinds of different patterns and stuff like that. This is a promising area, nothing definitive yet, but this is a very, very promising area, which nobody's talking about, nobody's thinking about, but it could absolutely transform human health. But I also
It
want to talk
could.
about
Okay.
another.
Quickly on that. One, I think the word gut is funny. I think
It's a
that needs to
hilarious
be.
word.
I think that
Yes.
needs to be said
Yeah.
because
I mean,
everyone's
it's
talking
just a gut
about.
feeling on your part.
It's just my gut feeling, and I wanted to have the guts to say it, and
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
it's funny. But
Yeah.
also
But
in
I
my.
can't really stomach these puns, though, I have to say.
Ugh, well, I'm just trying to keep up with you and your dad jokes.
Thank
I
you.
think I did a pretty good job. But
Pretty good for somebody who's not a dad.
yeah, everyone's talking about all these doctors are like, "Oh, AI is going to fix this," and in my skepticism today, I just am so sick of that. I just feel like again, I'll believe it when I see it. And there was a Bloomberg article that was, they tested doctors and their skills went down when they were using
You're getting
AI
dumber.
tools. They're getting
Exactly.
dumber. So you have to take it with a grain of salt when the doctors are like, we're going to figure out this mysterious
Yeah.
gut with
Yes.
AI. We don't know what it is in the first place, but we're going to
Right.
use AI. And I feel like if they, well, until they actually have a medical breakthrough that trickles down to patients and changes lives, they
Yeah.
cure Alzheimer's,
Mm-hmm.
something. Like, I just feel like
Mm-hmm.
we need to have a lot more skepticism and just make sure also we're vetting the people that are getting this money. Like we're just
Yeah,
giving all this funding. I
right.
mean, doctors aren't always the best people, just because they say they're going to solve XYZ with AI. Woo,
Yeah.
AI. I mean, it's just, I'm a little over it today. And I also think, I'm warranted. So I'm going to say it from my gut.
Yes, thank you. A parting dad joke shot on
Mm-hmm.
that topic, but I do want to talk about one area where AI has definitely made a big difference. And bear with me for a moment because I'm one of the few people in technology journalism who has been writing about and cares about life logging for a long time. In
Another
1945,
word I made fun of you
uh,
for.
yes, and it's so out of date, this word, that people are starting to use it to mean other things because they don't know
My
that it
pet's
already
name
means
is
something.
Lifelog. Just kidding.
Yes. Perfect name. In 1945, a visionary man named Vannevar Bush wrote an article for The Atlantic where he introduced a concept called the Memex, which this idea was like, imagine a desk that has a scanner in it. Again, 1945. So this is really advanced thinking. And his idea was, if you could put every letter, back when people wrote letters, every paper you wrote, every speech you wrote, every article you read, every single thing that crossed your mind into this desk, and it got scanned into this computer system. And if we had some amazing way to retrieve the information from that, you'd be able to augment your memory, augment your cognition uh, tenfold, and it would be this amazing thing. Well, people tried different things. People used to wear cameras around their neck. There was a guy at Microsoft who he had a whole career in computers and ended up at Microsoft. And his whole function at Microsoft was to do life logging, where he had two cameras around his neck, which took a picture every 15 minutes, and these went into a system. And when
Wow.
smartphones came out, I interviewed him a few years ago. His name is, I'm spacing on his name, Gordon Bell. Um, and he basically, when smartphones came out in 2007, when the iPhone came out in 2007 and really launched the smartphone industry into the stratosphere, he sort of threw his hands up and gave up, and he stopped wearing the cameras because he said smartphones are gathering so much data. He predicted that we were going to have all kinds of uh, sort of sensors like what we have now, watches that measure your heartbeat and your footsteps
Mm-hmm.
and all this kind of stuff. He knew that was all coming. And he says, just too much data. Until we have an AI that can sift through all this data and quickly present us with AI facilitated retrieval, we're not really going to have life logging. So he basically gave up. And then he died. He died about 2 years ago, something like that.
Hmm.
And so there is a tool that I discovered that is great for live logging, but it's especially great for journalists like you and me, or people who just deal with tons and tons of information that they have to process, called My Mind. You can find it at mymind.com. Here's what this is. Picture Evernote. Did you ever use Evernote, or that was like that came and went before you cared about stuff like
More
this, right?
that,
This is
but I
kind of
know
an
the
old,
name, so that's pretty
yeah.
good.
So Evernote is one of many, probably one of the better known tools for information management, basically, where you just throw everything in there, pictures of your, everything. You can put in your passwords privately. You can throw in your texts, your emails, anything you can throw in there, and then later you can search for it.
Hmm.
The problem with that in so many of these things is they kind of you have to have tagging of some kind. You have to have keywords or tagging or something to really make it valuable. Well, My Mind, what's brilliant about My Mind, and by the way, it has a beautiful, elegant interface as well, is that it uses AI to tag everything. It looks at what you've got, and if it's a movie, it formats it as a movie. It tags it with all the keywords you could ever imagine for it, and you basically use it through a mobile app where you basically share with the app, and it just goes in. You use it with a browser extension. You basically click a button and it goes in. You can select a paragraph or a sentence or a word or a phrase or something like that, and right click on it
Mm-hmm.
and select My
Cool.
Mind from the menu, and it just goes in, but it captures the phrase, the link to the original article. It is fantastic. You can throw everything in there and get information back instantly. For those of us who do podcasts, you know how
Yeah,
like
how should we
you
be
do
using it?
you know how you do a podcast and certain podcasts that will go unnamed have a rundown with 75 items on them, and then
I love how
you're
you just
in the
hate
middle of a,
all other podcasts besides ours.
I don't hate it. It's just, it's just hard. Podcasting is
Yeah, it
hard, right?
is.
When you're
It
doing
is.
doing that kind of podcast is hard. And so and you have this figure or a name or something at your fingertips and you
That
can't
was a good
quite get it.
snap.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Um, with my mind, you could just get that information instantaneously, like on the fly. It's
Have you
really,
tried
really
Google
nice.
Notebook LM? This is reminding me of that.
Yeah, the problem with that is it's not really it. I use that heavily, but it's not good for this particular use.
Right.
This allows you to have all these snippets of information to organize it in certain ways. Um, it's like it's really there are no ads, there's no importing, there's no exporting, there's no social dimension, there's no group team usage. It's just for
Mm-hmm.
you and yourself. Like, and for it helps
Mm-hmm.
you brainstorm things, it helps you have total recall for things, it helps you deal with tons and tons and tons of information. And I really recommend it. But the key is AI. AI is the thing, it's the secret sauce that makes information retrieval apps like this really work for the first
Right.
time ever.
I I did the opposite. I mean, this could be good for me. Like I went on a 2-day reporting trip in Pennsylvania on Monday and Tuesday for a feature I'm writing,
Uh-huh.
and I met with so many people, and I have found that on these types of things, the volume of recordings and digital notes are actually out of control and counterproductive because I'm not using something like this. So I hand wrote most of my notes from the weekend or the week, which felt really archaic. But it basically just uses me as the filter. If something catches my
Yeah.
ear, I write it, and then I don't have all that crap in between. And I've
Yeah.
also found that the people that I'm with feel more heard. Like if they see me write something, they're like, "All right, she's paying
Yes.
attention." Because a couple
Like
times
one
I
of
was
Kim Jong Un's generals, they're always writing notes, right? It's like that.
That's me. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you're the
Um,
you're the dear leader.
yeah, it does come with trade-offs when they're like, why is she writing that? But
Yeah.
or they'll be like, don't write that down. But sometimes people, if they say something that's really important and I'm recording, they'll be like, did you get that? And I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm recording. It's just kind of
Yeah.
it has a different approach. I don't know. So I on this trip I went almost full analog, and I wrote notes, but then I was terrified I was going to lose them, which is another trade-off. So
Yeah.
maybe I could
Okay.
explore some of this AI stuff.
Okay. Well, so first of all, if you write things down with a pen or a pencil, you're going to remember it like 10 times better than if you
Hmm.
type it in, or if you just capture. The worst thing is you just capture something without really reading that much. You're not going to remember anything
Right.
like that. So it's a great thing to do. But here's the best part: take a picture of your handwritten notes and put it into My Mind. It will actually
Yeah.
scan the words and capture that, and every word in those notes will be searchable.
Right. I should do that
And
because I mean, I'm looking at it now. A big barrier to my approach is just writing. We don't do that anymore. So it's like my
right?
handwriting. I mean, I was embarrassed. Some of these people could see. I
Yeah,
mean, actually looking at it now, it doesn't look terrible. It does
yeah.
look like
You're sitting there
words.
writing with a fist, like the pen is
I
like at the
know.
bottom,
Like there
like
were a
you're like,
couple times they looked at my notebook and I was like, I promise I speak English. Like it was it
yeah,
looked pretty bad.
yeah,
So I mean,
yeah,
I've thought about. I got an iPad with a pencil, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to use that because it would do what
yeah.
you say automatically. Just you write handwritten,
Right.
and it makes it into text, like typed text, and saves it."
Searchable.
Um, but I tried it, and pencil's kind of hard to get a hang of. Have you used it?
Yeah.
The Apple Pencil?
For sure, for sure. And the key is to use the most recent pencil, the most recent iPad, and then to put a screen protector on it that gives you paper texture.
Yeah,
Because
that'd be
the
nice.
slippery texture is just really unsatisfying. This thing's sliding all over the place. Whereas if you have
Right.
the textured ones, it slightly degrades the quality of the high resolution photos and stuff that you would look at with the iPad. So you kind of want
Right.
you have to be pretty devoted to the idea. But once you have that textured paper on it, it's really nice to write on.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I have the very latest gadgets because they Apple sent them to me on a press loan. So I have all the best stuff. I've just been so busy I haven't used it, but I have it until the end of the year, so I need to use it. So
I'll
I'll
send
keep you
you a
updated.
recommendation because I did a lot of research on what kind of paper like one is called paper like actually
Hmm.
protector to use. And after all my research, I discovered that one is much better than the others. And I'll send you that recommendation.
Cool.
In fact, we'll
Yes.
put it in the show notes because we're doing this, we're doing this in a podcast. And so I don't want to be mysterious, but I'll put it in the show notes and I'll send it to you as
Yeah.
well.
If anyone listening has Apple Pencil tips, let me know because you can do things like you squeeze the end of it and the menu appears and I don't know. There's actually it's way more than just you put the thing on the screen. There's a whole world and a ergonomic flow to your fingers. I don't know. It seemed
Yeah.
complicated to me.
Yeah, I mean it's really sophisticated the way that Apple and the other advanced tablets do it because you can just put your hand right on it. It doesn't do anything weird. It knows that that's the
Yeah.
sort of the hand where you're resting on it to write and things like that. So
Hmm.
it's a reasonably satisfying thing to do. I don't do it much anymore because I don't know why, but but what I really want is I want an ebook reader with a pen. Now, remember we talked about we're going to talk about ebook readers, but
Hmm.
um, and we can do that for a minute or two. But anyway, information retrieval is a bitch, man. It's like so hard to do well. I've been working at it for so many years to try to get a system where I can capture everything and then be able to sort of think about things and remind myself to think about things and to expand on my thoughts on a certain subject and capture that
Yep.
expansion for future reference. And I used to have when I first went to Silicon Valley years ago and worked at a startup, the sort of like the fundraising guy who was involved in our startup used to carry around 3x5 index cards in his shirt pocket.
Wow.
And he was always flipping through them and he would rewrite these cards. He would write them and rewrite them and rewrite them and rewrite them. At some point he had everything memorized or didn't need the information. He would toss it. He would write a new one, but he was always just doing this. That's actually a great system. And he
Hmm.
would be able to just get up extemporaneously and he had all the facts and everything on his fingertips all the time. And I've always wanted a system like that wasn't 3x5 index cards.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because
And
as
I
you're
think,
saying, information retrieval is hard. It's like, yeah, that's actually what ChatGPT is struggling with.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
Welcome to the club,
it
ChatGPT.
welcome to the club, man. We've been here. You do know more than us, but you're not perfect because there's just a lot of information in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so with that, and I think we wanted to keep it a little short today, but I just wanted to. We talked about books last time. I promised that we would talk about ebook readers.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's one or two color ebook readers that allow pen input in the right way. So, for example, there is no Kindle that I want because the Kindle Scribe, I think it's called, allows you
Hmm.
to write input, but basically it opens a box and then you write in the box and then that box is sitting there on the page. And I hate that. It's terrible. What I want is to be able to actually write on top of the letters, just like you would with a pen in a book. I want to be able to circle words, phrases, underline
Oh
things. I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
draw an arrow over to the margins and write something in the margins. Back in the days of paper books, that's what I did, and that really helped me
Hmm.
learn and
Hmm.
remember things really well. I want that
It's
for an
also a
ebook reader, and
good
there's only
mad scientist vibe, when
yes,
you're kind of
exactly,
putting crazy things wherever you want on the page and you're underlining, and on one page you have a whole theory and book idea, and on the other page you just write boo.
yeah,
Whatever you want. There's a freedom to it. Like the
and
box idea, I don't like that.
exactly. Mad scientist vibes are wildly underrated. And
Yes.
so, yeah, that's what I want. There's only one or two ebook readers that I'm aware of. One is Books, I think it's called Boox, and there's another one I forgot the name of
It's
it.
a cute
But at
name. I
some point,
mean,
I think,
Kobo Clara. That's a big
Yeah,
one.
that sounds right. Kobo, yeah, something like
Okay.
that. So I think at some point before the end of the year, I'm going to end up with one of those ebook readers. I'm really looking
Hmm.
forward to it. I really feel like I'm lacking, but
Me too. That's
anyway,
why I asked, and I got this whole Apple Pencil thing, and I just I want to mix the online world with physical world in a way, and that to me seems
right?
like a way to do it. So I actually really appreciate your recommendations, and
Yeah,
I need to figure out if the Apple, like an iPad plus pencil is that thing for me, and if not, I need to figure out what I'm asking for Christmas for my friends and family, and which one of
yes,
these it is.
yeah. I recommend that you try both the iPad direction with a pen and also try writing on physical paper and then capturing it with your phone and throwing it into
Yeah.
My Mind. My Mind is free up to 100 notes, so you can really genuinely try it. Most of the features. And so I would really try it. It's really quite revelatory, and
Mm-hmm.
that will enable you to because if you're capturing, you're not going to capture everything by writing notes. That's just for the stuff that you are hearing with your ears, right? But you also want to capture stuff that you see
Right.
online. You want to capture people's quotes. You want
Yes,
to capture all that
exactly.
stuff. And so you want it all together in one place. This is the
Yeah.
getting things done model where you want one repository for input for all the stuff goes into one place. And so that'd be an interesting experiment.
Yes, I'll keep you updated.
All right. All right. Have we said enough? Are you ready for your vacation?
We said it all. I don't want to be cutting it short, but also I want to be cutting it short. I need to pack.
Yeah.
I
I
have
need
a
to
new
go have lunch.
suitcase. You need to eat.
Oh,
I
really?
gotta,
Yeah.
see what's up with my suitcase. What are the pockets? Where
Yeah.
is my passport? That's a good question. I'm gonna need to figure that out.
Um, a passport would be nice. All
All
right.
right.
Well, you have been listening to the Super Intelligent Podcast, America's favorite podcast. Well, maybe not yet, but someday we will be America's favorite podcast. We talk about AI, we talk about advanced technologies, and we talk about real life. So we don't charge you admission. There's no subscription. There's no advertising. There's no sponsorships. There's no money involved at all. We ask nothing from you except a glowing 5-star review on the podcast app of your choice. Come on, people, give us those stars. We need to see stars, and we do this every week, more or less. It's almost weekly, so stay tuned. Search for Super Intelligent. If you're not already subscribing, search for Super Intelligent in the podcast app of your choice, or you can go to our Substack, superintelligentpodcast.com. And you'll see all the options there. So thank you for listening, and we will see you next time after Emily's vacation.